Hey guys, before we start the episode, I just want to say shout out to our sponsors, Rain Capital. If you're looking to buy your first home or you're looking to refinance your current existing one, make sure to give them a call. There's a link down below. Let them know you came from the podcast. Now let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Word from Home. My name is Jem. There's a few things that I'd like to discuss today on the podcast, some cultural topics to cover, and things that really caught my attention this week. First one I'd like to go through is, I don't know if you guys have been watching, but there's been FIBA trials or exhibition games leading up to the Paris Olympics. One key thing from an Australian perspective is seeing, I'm sure a lot of American viewers, a lot of Americans are watching the Olympics and they see players like Patty Mills or a Dennis Schroeder, a Campazzo, Evan Fournier. So many of these, I would say, to a lot of the NBA fans, they are middle-tiered or, mediocre type players. But when they come and play for their country on the FIBA game, they skyrocket to, Patty Mills starts looking like Allen Iverson or young Kyrie. he shoots the lights out like Kyrie. It's a thing to really take in, and for young players to see that it's not all about getting the most shots up and getting all the stats, because in the NBA it's different. There is a pecking order, but also someone like Patty Mills that's been in the NBA for 16 years, and you can see he can shine on a team like Australia and he can score 20 plus points per game. But in the NBA, he plays his role, and that's why he's been playing 16 years, because he knows who he is in the NBA. He knows what he has to do. He has to be a team player. He has to be that role player. If Popovich tells him one thing, he listens. He does what he has to do. He could easily shoot the ball out, but how many young players are there in the NBA that are more talented than Patty, more athletically gifted, and coming out of college had the bigger names, but they're out of the league now? It's because they didn't play the role. A lot of the guys in the big three that should still be in the league, but they just didn't play the role. They didn't try to improve, and they weren't a good locker room person. But Patty Mills is the quintessential team player, and that's why players like him, Evan Fournier, Campazzo, a lot of international players, when they play for their national team, they really show their talent. Like Patty Mills is a really good basketball player. In the NBA, he doesn't get a lot of stats, but he does all the things you want him to do. He'll defend as hard as he can. He can shoot the lights out. That's why a lot of teams want a Patty Mills type player. Team USA, I watched the Australia game, and I just watched it this morning. I saw South Sudan nearly take them out. And even in the Australian game, it was very close. They have lapses, but they do play like a 5, sub out, get another 5. I think they're going to be good enough with their talent to just win the gold, especially if you have someone like a LeBron, a Steph Curry, KD, and B. You can just keep going. But the thing that I love that everyone gets to see is Anthony Davis and his dominance on both sides of the floor. So you can see when he gets on, he gets like 6 blocks, 4 points, 7 rebounds. Sometimes I think today he scored over 10. The other day he scored over 10. But AD needs to start if America really wants to blow out teams. They haven't really been blowing out many teams. Yes, everyone's catching up, but also they're lucky that they've got this team, because if it was the B team, C team, they'd be losing, because these teams, these international teams, FIBA rules, like you see when Embiid is trying to post up and then he tries to get a flop. In the NBA, he'll get called for it and then he'll go to the free throw line. But in the FIBA, you see the refs look at them like, stop playing, like, get up, play on. And Embiid's trying to cry for a foul, but it's not happening. AD needs to start. This is, you can see AD is one of the best defensive players when it comes to the rim. This is what the Lakers need to see as well, is if you can get good defenders on the perimeter, AD can just be there, back you up, dink, block. That's why he's not winning his Defensive Player of the Year awards, because our perimeter players are letting him down. But you can see, even if teams can't really pick, teams can't pick on AD like they do on Gobert. He can switch on your guard and defend the guard. That's why AD, he's honestly, I wouldn't say he's underrated, but he's underappreciated by the NBA. But now in the Olympics, at least you'll be able to see that he's not only the most important defensive player, but he's also probably going to be the best player. Him, LeBron, and we'll see when KD comes back. That's going to change everything. Teams like France will give them trouble. Australia, they had Landau score 20 on them. Who is in their pool? Australia has the hardest pool. They've got like Canada, Greece, and Germany, I'm pretty sure. America is in Group C for the Olympic pool play. They will face Serbia in their first game, and they will also have South Sudan, and the playing in the first Olympics. Puerto Rico, Italy, Lithuania, and Puerto Rico are candidates get that spot. So I'm guessing South Sudan, Puerto Rico, Serbia, and the US. Australia's pool is, Australia has Spain, so former Olympic finalists. They've got Greece, so Giannis, and they've got Canada, has SGA, the Gronk in Houston, RJ Barrett, like other NBA players. But Australia have been playing reasonably well and have been shooting well, and they look like they've got a good cohesion within their team. But yeah, looking forward to the Olympics. I'm going for Australia to medal, even if they are in that group of death. I think they can get Spain, they can get Greece. Yeah, they have Giannis, but all in all, the players, and Canada, that'll be a very tough game. But and they have Jamal Murray. But I think we can come out of that pool. Looking forward to that. Usually you have this lull during Australian winter when there's no NBA, and then you're just watching podcasts and just watching content all the way up until October, until preseason and the games. But I'm glad that we have the Olympics to look forward to. It's always a good vibe watching the Olympics. There's one topic that I really wanted to highlight or discuss. I was watching a doco on ABC iView about an Australian team leading a project in the Philippines where they are finding, it's in the area of Angeles City in Pampanga, where it's a known red light district, or where a lot of foreigners go over to this city to basically, and what's happening is in this area, because it's close to the former US naval base, so it was an area where they would just do R&R kind of stuff. Basically a King's Cross, but in Pampanga, in the Philippines, close to Manila, maybe 2 hours away. But what is happening, there's an issue that's happening where some of these older men or men from abroad are coming over to the Philippines, and they're getting these kids pregnant. Basically kids, or young women that are in poverty and have no other choice but they have no job. They don't get to have a normal upbringing of going to school and being able to, have a normal profession. So what's happening is they're going over to the Philippines and they're actually impregnating these women. And then they go back home. And then these women are forced to have these kids. They have these kids because another thing is that there's no abortions in the Philippines because Catholicism is quite big in the Philippines. So there is no abortion. So these women that are already tied up in poverty are selling themselves as sex workers to make a bit of money for their family or for themselves to have a better life. And it's not like a sex worker as an OnlyFans type girl in Australia. Here we have many opportunities and many ways to make money. But in the Philippines, there's a lot of women that have absolutely a lot of, not just women, but people in the Philippines that have to resort to this because there's nothing else. There's no other option but this, especially if you were born in that area. So they're being forced to raise these kids alone, and there was a clip on ABC that I was watching. I watched the whole doco, and it's crazy because the kids are Angan, or they speak Tagalog or Filipino. You can see that they're halfy. It's quite sad because these kids did not win the lottery. And what I mean by that is I was born in Sydney, land of opportunity here in Australia. Some of these kids are born and with their mum that's already in poverty. Now think about these kids that don't have a father to raise them, just their mum. What about when their mum goes to work? What happens to them? Now their mum already doesn't make a lot of money, so can't really support them. So what this project here in Australia is trying to do, they're trying to find their fathers over in Australia, New Zealand, and I think they have through DNA testing. But there's a lot that are denying when they get the call. Could you imagine they're just chilling? Maybe they've got a wife back in Australia or in the US or in New Zealand, and they're just chilling, and then they get a call or an email saying, hey, your DNA flagged, and we think you've got a kid in the Philippines when you went there in 2017 or 2012. But some, if you watch the doco, some have decided to support their child. So in a way, it's a very good thing, because you can see in the doco, a lot of them are really, really looking for their father, or the girls are looking for the father of their child, because it can be a benefit to them that their father's from Germany or from Australia. Now it's a lot easier for them to get a green card to go over here. I think it's a very, very interesting topic, because it's I know this area. We even drove past it because my family is from Pampanga, not in Angeles. But let me show you the little clip that I got of it from ABC.
Foreign men flock to nightclubs seeking cheap thrills with no consequences. Sex tourists have fathered tens of thousands of children who have been raised in poverty conditions.
These sex workers are being paid for the sex. They are not being paid to get pregnant and to raise these children.
But some of these men are now being tracked down and held to account.
A lot to unpack there, but as you can see, through DNA testing and the technology of today, they're trying to find the dads, hopefully reunite these kids with their dads, or get to meet their kids. I know there's going to be a lot that are going to deny it, and no way will they take a child in, especially if they can't believe it. I think there was one where they had two brothers, because they both popped like their brothers, and popped for having a kid in the Philippines, and they both didn't want to take the proper test in their country to rule them out. So you can't. It's not like they're forced by the government of their government or by the police of their country to take a DNA test. What else have we got? Is that it? Oh, I just watched the Jake Paul Mike Perry fight. Jake Paul won by knockout in the 7th, but it wasn't it was a TKO. So on his Mike Perry was on his feet still, but I think he basically just clubbed him for the whole fight. The first round he dropped him. Let's see. Amanda Serrano won. Wait, 1 second. Okay. Second. Okay, let's go back to that. Yeah. Yeah, so he was just clubbing him just like that. And then there was another one in the first round, I'm pretty sure. The thing with Mike Perry, his hands are down here, and in bare knuckle fighting championship, they were just throwing. It was basically a street fight in bare knuckle. In boxing, it's a whole different ball game. It's a sport. It's an art. That's why they call it the art. I mean, they call it the sweet science, because there's so many things, especially with someone like Jake Paul that's got a lot of power, and he was you could tell that his strategy was to go to the body, so that to take Mike Perry's hands down, and then he would just come up and just throw that right. And Jake Paul's getting better with these fights, but he does look, I don't know if it's sanctioned, but he does look quite big. Let's see. Oh, see, I just said that. Yeah, and there was no head movement. And look at that, that's just a proper club. Up. Whoop. Yeah. And Jake Paul, he just looked a lot faster than Mike Perry as well. Faster, bigger, stronger. Yeah, it wasn't going to be a good night. And then the thing with Jake Paul, you can't even hate on him. He's one of, if not one of the best marketers, with him and his brother. They're basically living out many kids' dreams. One's fighting top fights. I mean, like prize fighter money type fights. Sorry, prize fights with sellout crowds and big audiences and a lot of attention and money. And the other one's in WrestleMania flying off the corner of the turnbuckle. So you can't even hate on these two. They're living out their dreams, and then Prime and whatever else they've got going on, podcasts, they are living their dream, and you can't even hate on them. And in boxing wise, a lot of people hate on Jake Paul, but he's getting better. He's fast, he's big, and he actually takes the sport seriously by training and being in the gym and sparring real boxers and learning the science. Can't even hate on him. But he's so smart. When I say business smart, right after the fight, he calls out the biggest star in the UFC right now, Alex Pereira, Poatan. He says he wants to fight him. It's never going to happen, because I think Poatan's still on like another 6 fights on his contract, and Dana will never support fighting someone to fight Jake Paul, even if it is Poatan. I was discussing with Vitz, and he was saying that if it was just boxing, Jake Paul would get Poatan. But I don't know, I think Alex Pereira's hands, not just because we've seen the left hand, but he's got good reaction times, and he doesn't just stand. He reacts. He reads and reacts, and if he sees it, he'll come the other side. And he's much bigger, I'm pretty sure, than Jake Paul. So I'm down. I would love to see that fight. Someone needs to send someone from the UFC to actually take Jake Paul out, because he's going through every single UFC fighter. But I think Poatan would get him with a left hook for sure. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. I've been very busy. We've been moving into a new place. That's why a lot of content has been paused. But next few weeks, we'll be having different people, all bringing value and entertainment when it comes to life, sharing their stories, whether it be business, sport, being a creative, just people that are doing things with their life. Alright guys, I'll leave it there. That's my weekly wrap up or yap up. We discussed the FIBA or Olympics with Patty Mills and being a great role player. We discussed Team USA and the Australia-led team project over in the Philippines that are supporting sex workers track down the fathers of their children. And Jake Paul defeats Mike Perry. Guys, make sure to subscribe, give us a like, follow us on all social media platforms. Also, shout out to our sponsors that continuously allow us to run this show. If you're looking to refinance or looking to buy your first home, make sure to reach out to Rain Capital. Until next time, take care. See you in the next one.